Hoje só vou fazer uns cumprimentos ao presidente da Fundação Inatel, Fernando Ribeiro, a Anabela Correia, também saudar os conferenciantes aqui, Jean-Marc. Tenho que, não sei se eu falo um pouquinho português, portunhol, coger el guante, não é uma expressão que utilizamos em Espanha, para todas as questões que você ha comentado respeito ao papel da Comissão Europeia. Durante a exposição vamos a falar de muitas coisas que creio que têm muita relação com o que você comentou. Também a Comissão Europeia está muito contente de ter a relação que temos desde há uns anos com a Organização Internacional de Turismo Social, mayormente por la plataforma Ecalipso y con las futuras relaciones que comentaremos más adelante. Mi presentación voy a hacer en inglés porque las diapositivas están en inglés. Entonces, primeramente, I would like to speak about the main or the important general aspects of the tourist policy in Europe. This is something that I like to point out. This is a cross-cutting sector. Tourism is not only a main sector that is focused on one different policy, and it touches or it has synergies and links with other, like transport, environment, social exclusion, technology, research, everything. It's transnational, so this is a very important issue, and Jean-Marc has said that the main important now is to focus on a transnational view of the different types of tourism. In this case, the social tourism is very fragmented, which is really important and difficult for developing a policy regarding the amount of SMEs. You have here an appointment, 3.4 per million small and medium enterprises, according to Eurostat in 2013. Europe, it's now the world #1 tourist destination. You have different data also for 2013. 9% of the EU-wide GDP, talking about the total contribution, is not only direct, but also indirect, talking about the different services and different policies. As I told you, it's a cross-cutting sector. So this total contribution, taking all the services and all the policies that are linked to tourism, has a 9% of all the EU-wide GDP, so have a very importance in the economic contribution. Also 10% of the employment. Is the third economic activity behind distribution and construction, and it's still Europe's world's #1 tourist destination because it had 431 million international tourist arrivals in 2013, which is a big amount if we take into account that it was 1,000 million the total international tourist arrivals if we count worldwide. I just a few points about the legal framework. As Jean-Marc said, our legal framework comes very soon. Let's say it's 2009 since the approval of the Lisbon Treaty. Article 6 say that we don't have the power to harmonize legislation. So this is the sovereignty of the different national states. But we can intervene in supporting, coordinating, and supplementing the actions of the member states, which put us in a very difficult situation because we cannot. We only support, in this case of the social tourism, for example. We can try to make our efforts, but we don't have the power to harmonize regulations. So to give an added value is what we are trying to achieve in all our initiatives, which is looking for the added value that the European Commission could give all the organizations, all the federations, and all the member states in the development of the tourist policy. We encourage favorable environment for the enterprises and for the tourist sector in general, or also, of course, a cooperation among member states. From this legal framework, it was approved the Communication 2010, which is now our policy framework for the development of the different actions that have been developed under the European tourist policy. Those are the four main objectives: stimulate competitiveness, development of the sustainable, responsible and quality tourism, which is a broad objective in which accessibility and other kind of actions in relation with the tourist for all could be integrated, consolidate the image and profile of Europe as a whole, because I will see in the next slide, we have a big problem to get, to provide information to the sector, because this coordination among the different actors, from the Commission to the destinations and to the sector, to the very last tourist, this is something that we need to improve. And of course, maximizing the potential of other policies as is a cross-cutting sector, and trying to give opportunities and provide guide for the funding opportunities among the different instruments. As I said, we have to face different challenges. One is seasonality on demand, which is one of the most important things I will debrief later. Lack of visual identity, lack of this information I told you. But I won't stop here. I will go on and talk about what the tourist unit in the Commission can do for the tourists for all. The European Commission ensures universal access to holiday, taking into account the second objective I told you through the Communication 2010, which is competitiveness, sustainable and responsible tourism. And of course, it undertakes transnational initiatives to deal with the two challenges that have been pointed out in the last slides, with this distinction of the low season, which means the possibility to create opportunities for job creation and also growth, economic growth, but also to face the major challenges in the economy and in the society, which is social exclusion, population aging, some single-person households, some different social challenges that we have to face, and will probably make us to undertake different initiative as the Tourist for All. Sorry, I went back. This next slide, I will go through very quick. It's the policy framework. We have been talking about Tourist for All from years. In the Communication 2001, we were still talking about the different target groups that we wanted to aid or to, let's say, to support in order to access for all to holidays. Those groups have been seniors, youth, people with low incomes and people with disability, different communications, until the arrival of the preparatory action, which was a support from the European Parliament, 3 years preparatory action for supporting an initiative called Social Tourism in Europe, named Calypso Tourist for All. The aim is facilitating low-season transnational trips for these 4 target groups, which has a specific disadvantage comparing to the other groups of population. This is also linked to the action number 6 of the Communication 2010, which is the policy framework we told before. So, what we have done, the first is the objectives. The idea is to promote the European dimension of the social tourism, which is a very tricky concept, and we acknowledge what Mr. Mignon has said. Social tourism or tourist for all, in fact, we don't have the key for solving this question. According to our view, tourist for all means a broader concept. And I will explain it later, but maybe the idea of tourist for all, it's not talking about social, but probably engage different partnerships. And it's not talking only about people with any kind of disadvantages, but also the possibility to involve all the sector in the initiative in order to to manage all these disadvantaged people to travel. It's very difficult to explain here, and maybe we cannot debrief about that. But it's a question that we are trying to solve also from the European Commission. Promote regional development, generate economic growth, improve tourist seasonality patterns, create more and better jobs, and of course strengthen the European citizenship. That was the main objectives of the Calypso initiative. 2 call for proposals were made under the preparatory action, 2010 and 2011, and 1 in 2012 under the EIP. The EIP program was the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, which was a program focused not only on innovation, but also in the competitiveness, taking it in both the sense of the different enterprises and the different business that are facing the tourist activities. As I said in the first slide, we have a fragmented tourist structure, and more than 95% is based on SMEs. So this is an important line for financing. 10 projects were developed under this initiative involving 17 member states. And of course, the platform Calypso, in which I won't debrief about this because it will be explained by Serena Ianiello later in another intervention. Just to say that there is a promotion of the supply and demand, and later on I will say a few words about this. Now we are facing an European redefinition of the tourist policy, and it comes to the very moment in which we are facing. I introduce just the new political momentum because we have different initiatives coming from the cabinet, coming from the commissioner, Antonio Tajani, who is the Commissioner for Enterprise and Industry, who has supported very deeply and very strongly the tourism in Europe. We have the Mission for Growth for tourist enterprises. We have the strategy, European 2020, which is focused on growth and employment, which are the main important principles and initiatives that we have to face within the different initiatives in the tourist policy. Small Business Act, of course, the financial framework for the 2014 and 2020. But we are facing a transition. We are facing the new Commission. Now we are working on putting all the initiatives on the table. We have the legacy. We have the political support from the Commissioner. But now we are changing everything. We are trying to justify what we have done, and we are trying now to put into the table all the initiatives. So we are in a period which is, let's say, a bit transitional, and we will try to do our efforts to continue with our strategies that has been developed in the former years. This is a strategic roadmap, 2013-2014. It will be for the next years. Our main objectives will be promotion, the tourist demand, European destination, let's say the diversification of the offer. Another one will be accessibility, quality, sustainability, skills, innovation. All these issues will be also developed under objective number 3. And of course, this integration of tourist policies, but also regarding the Eurobarometer that was mentioned by Mr. Mignon, we will also try to gather data, socioeconomic data about the tourist trends in order to facilitate the possibility for policymakers and for the sector to develop strategies, which will be under the observatory, and also the virtual tourist observatory, which is not here in this slide, but we'll try to gather all the different statistic data in country profiles, taking into account at the first moment the data from Eurostat, but later on we can take all this information, gathering statistic data from all the different sources at national and regional level. And of course, this integration of tourist policies, we will try to coordinate with other DGs, with other directorates in the Commission, which deals with aspects that are, of course, indirectly touching and involving tourism. This is the amount of the 2013. I am not going to talk about this, but we will like to give the sector guidelines for the new opportunities in the financing of projects. The main line will be COSME, which is the competitiveness program for the enterprises and SMEs, which will be the main line for financing projects in the tourist sector. But we have also another opportunities under the structural and regional funds. But I cannot talk about this because we will be here talking about this all the morning. Just to let you know that we have another opportunities looking for other instruments. Taking into account the different strategy, the first objective will be the increasing of the demand. The Tourist for Seniors is one of our main initiatives, which involves also a very important issue for the Tourist for All. That was, it was launched a call for proposals in 2013 to facilitate exchanges, transnational exchanges in Europe. And we have 58 submissions. 4 projects have been awarded. I have to congratulate now some of our partners here in Atel, OTS, ISTO, and they have been partners of one of the projects that we have proposed for granted. It has not been yet signed, but we hope that the implementation period will start in July for 18 months. That will be another boost of the Calypso platform for the extension of the platform. We would like them, of course, to follow the objective of increasing the demand in this specific segment of seniors. And we hope that, I think that there are 7 countries involved in the partnership. So we hope and we know that they will have a very huge impact, and that could be a very good opportunity for gathering the tourist offer and demanding the tourist social tourism, let's say Tourist for All, mainly focused on seniors, but could be, of course, expanded because we want support the diversification of different platforms. The idea of the Commission is to try to engage all the sector, even if it's diversified, in this kind of platforms. So this is why we want your support, and I hope that you will do a good job. Another issue is, well, these are the objectives of the call 2013, foster demand and supply, extinction of the seasonality, which is a very important challenge we have to face, innovative tourist packages, public and private European partnership, driven to the creation of a European tourist domestic market for seniors. Then I will debrief a little bit about the next 2014 initiative. That will be a call for proposals. It is not yet launched, but the idea will be facilitated, of course, again, in the tourist flow in a transnational level, in the low-medium season for member states in Europe and for third countries, of course. What we expect, this is general, in general view, foster seniors and young people, because we are going to include in this call also the young segment, extend the tourist season, facilitate public and private partnerships, foster international cooperation, and increase citizenship. So it will have the same lines or the same similar objectives that we had in the 2014 and 13. The publication will be indicatively beginning of July. The deadline for submissions in October. It will be the budget line, the COSME program. We have 1.8 million, so we have increased a little bit the amount, 75% of the co-financing. It's foreseen that 8 or 10 projects will be granted, and the implementation period is, of course, to be modified because we depend on the different technical and administrative burdens. We will see, but we expect to implement the actions in April 2015. What are the next steps? Just to say that we have organized 2 general workshops between 2013 and 2014. We set up in the last December a pool of experts because we want to develop this initiative for senior. The idea of the senior segment of promoting the initiative for senior, it has a very good or important component in the social tourism, but we want to achieve all this potential of the senior market. And that's why we create this initiative. The initiative was aimed at facilitating cooperation mechanisms to increase senior tourist travels within Europe and from third countries in the low and medium seasons. Yeah. And we have developed and drafted a report that will be one of these papers or document position papers that will be put into the table for the next commissioner. I have also to thank some experts that has been here in a voluntary basis helping the commission, like Isto. I will thank also the creation of a European strand for this organization, Luc Goban and Annabella. Of course, I think that is Enat here, the European Network for Accessible Tourism, who was also active very closely with us in the development of this report. Also, we have another link, so synergies with the possibility of the accessible tourism in transnational sustainable tourist products under COSME. We have also another initiatives under EDIN, because we have the granted award ceremony for EDIN destinations in accessible tourism. We have also to mention the importance of the accessibility in our initiative, which has these figures, which means that indirectly 130 and 140 million tourists could be benefit for the possibility of increasing services in accessible tourism. We had a call for proposals in 2013 under the EAP program, and of course this was under the another preparatory action for the European Parliament. This preparatory action will last from 2012 to 2014, so that means that this year it will be another call for proposals under this preparatory action to involve or engage all the different sectors into the possibility to improve in all the value chain, all the different accessible services. We have developed in 2012 3 studies which will be presented in Europe the 6th of June, so the next week. All the different studies and the results will be published and explained in a General Assembly there in Brussels, according to different 3 strands: accessible or services in the tourist demand, the accessible tourism services in the offer, and of course the identification of the different skills in the tourist professionals within the accessible services. Just only to mention a few results. I will finish now. Sorry for this, George. Just that we have a clear impact with the senior segment. More accessible service for the elderly will increase incomes between 2040 and 2070 million euros, which is a huge amount, and it will have a very important economic impact. So this is another initiative. The call for 2014, I told before, under the preparatory action, will be launched presumably in June, and it will have a duration of 18 months. All this information will be in the project website. We will have all the information about the tourist initiative in our website, and of course you have there our link. Any question about this, because I know that this is a lot of information about the projects, about how to accessibility in senior and youth and everything. We will be happy to help you and support in this email. Thank you very much for your attention.